Hello, welcome to our final episode here about the Seoul Cyber Conference 2013. Are you okay?
I'm good.
Just wanted to get that out of your system.
Yes.
Okay, today we're going to talk about capacity building. Now, by the time you watch this, the conference will only be 1 week away. I will, of course, be taking some pictures and uploading some photos of the conference. But there's still some time if you're interested to find out more information about it. Of course, information can be found at www.seoulcyber2013.kr/EN for English. Alrighty. Capacity building. Now, how they define capacity building is, of course, great efforts have been made in recent years to close the digital divide. The divide, of course, being the difference of one nation's capacity for internet technology and another's.
Yeah.
Good progress has been made, but significant challenges remain. Alongside the digital divide, there's an emerging cybersecurity divide, the closing of which is essential if every country is to enjoy the economic and social benefits from cyberspace. The disparity and the current needs of developing countries suggests that capacity building should be implemented through a multi-level approach. Capacity building needs to be based on sustainable models that will ensure the development momentum built up by international efforts is maintained. For effective and sustainable models, it is important to ensure full participation of different actors engaged in the process. You all right, young sir?
I'm just really into this. Let's go.
This is going right over your head.
Let's do this.
No, you're a business major, though. This stuff will... Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. This stuff won't be too important. But it should be important because private sector should be taking the lead in a lot of these things, and it hasn't been as of late. We'll get into that in a bit. First, let's talk about some of their objectives. First, to define the key features of capacity building in cyberspace, particularly in cybersecurity areas, to listen to the needs of all relevant stakeholders.
You're oven, shut up.
To identify strategic gaps in the capacity building support practices.
But I'm in sync. We're always relevant.
To share case studies, best practices, or lessons learned on capacity building in cyberspace, including how the private sector has been effectively engaged, and to propose sustainable capacity building models that all developing and developed countries can participate in.
It says engaged, and then the very next line it says propose.
So is it making wedding jokes?
Yeah, insert wedding joke here. All right.
Okay, you ready for this?
I'm sorry, let's do this.
You ready? Okay, let's go. What are the core needs of developing countries that must be met in cyberspace?
No idea, let's go. Next one.
Next one, ready to go?
Yes. Must. Remember that. That's the key word there.
Must. Again, infrastructure. This is going to go right back to square one. Infrastructure. If they don't have access to internet, don't have access to computers to run the internet on, they don't have access to servers to run the internet on, then it's pointless. Infrastructure is ideally it's a starting place for when you're talking about getting access to cyberspace.
Pointless.
Pointless. Wow. Thanks, guy. Yes, that's the one I'd put up there at the very top, is infrastructure. Now, how do we go about building that infrastructure? In the West, governments didn't have a whole lot to do with building infrastructure. It was all businesses. It was people who saw the opportunity to make money. It was customers who saw
entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah, it was. It literally was entrepreneurship. Now there can be some government pushes, like here in South Korea. Obviously, the government pushed really hard towards information technology, and that, of course, led businesses then to invest in the infrastructure. But I don't. Someone stand out there and correct me if I'm wrong. There hasn't been a country yet that the government was the sole or major providing factor for internet infrastructure. Heck, even in a lot of third world countries now, a lot of that stuff is donations. A lot of that is businesses that want to open up markets, and they're kind of investing there. My big thing is infrastructure. Infrastructure has to be developed. Now, after infrastructure is developed, then, of course, when they're talking about cybersecurity, that's obviously going to be an issue. Just giving these people access to computers and teaching them how to use them might not necessarily be enough, because then they just become, well, we've basically given internet a-holes a new target,
Fake and gay.
So we need also to train train the countries and the nationals that we're helping build this capacity for. And again, that goes back to education. So that's one area where I think the government has to take the lead on. Microsoft doesn't really have a way of sitting down everybody in Uganda and saying, okay, this is how this is going to work. But the Ugandan government does have quite a strong control over the educational field, and they can say, okay, we're teaching our kids how to use this, especially in the major cities.
Yeah.
Especially in the major cities. Even if they don't have access to a computer yet, they will eventually. So why not teach them how to use it in proper ways to engage with it? Okay. Number 2, what are the successful cases of cooperation between various stakeholders, such as international or regional organizations, states, the private sector, and civil society? I actually listened to and then read, and you know how I am with my news, an article talking about internet.org. Now, Internet.org is a push by Mike Zuckerberg, you might remember from Facebook, along with several other companies, to include our own Samsung. Go Samsung. The idea is to...
Yeah, they're Korean, not Japanese. Americans learn this.
They're banding together to try to get internet to the whole world. That's their idea. Right now, about a third of the world has access to reliable internet. About another third has to push really hard to get access to it, and the remaining third has no access whatsoever to it. So they want to, like it says, the digital divide, they want to close that gap. Now, my only problem with the way that Mr. Zuckerberg is running this, he's describing it as a basic human right to have internet. First off, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who just want to eat. They probably want to get that out of the way before you talk about internet being a human right. So,
I wish I had a Facebook instead of this cheeseburger.
Yeah, you might want to look up what basic human rights are, along with these basic human needs, Mr. Zuckerberg. And second, I don't like how he's side-skirting the real benefit that can come from this. All these companies are pushing it, including his own Facebook. They're trying to expand the market. Right now, only a third of the world has reliable access to Facebook. He wants to make that to the whole world. That is not only perfectly fine, that is the only reason why South Korea has the internet coverage it does, why America has the internet coverage it does, why Europe has the internet coverage it does, is because they wanted to make money, they saw an opportunity, and they pushed for it. That is what you're trying to do. Don't try to sugarcoat it with this, oh, it's a human rights issue. Shut up, okay? You're a businessman, and I am perfectly okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with you being a businessman wanting to make money. In fact, I love that you're trying to make money and want to expand the market, because you can help people and make money at the same time.
Facebook's helped me. It's helped me keep in touch with people.
Exactly. It's perfectly fine. You want to expand your market. But don't try to sugarcoat this. Be honest about it, and I think you can get a lot more businesses to jump on board. Especially places like Samsung. They overtook Apple, I think, the last couple of quarters. Maybe Apple just took it back this previous quarter for smartphones sold in the world. Obviously, they want access to a lot of burgeoning markets. And the only places that have good positive population growth are Africa and South America. People in Europe, people in North America, we seem to not be making as much, or in Asia, we don't seem to be making much babies. And so all the future markets are going to be in places that we consider poor now, which will eventually overtake us in population and market size. So you want to get in that market, great. But do it from the standpoint of, okay, I'm being honest here. We want to make money, but we can help people and make money at the same time. All right. What are the measures that can be taken to sustain and utilize the acquired capacity? What can capacity building models look like? Now, this is one I kind of wince at. No developed country has a model for how they develop their cyberspace infrastructure. Like I said, a lot of it was done piecemeal at a time of, okay, we see a burgeoning opportunity.
Do it. Just,
Yeah, okay, there's a market here. There's a place to expand here. We'll expand here. And it kind of developed organically over time. I don't think there has been a model.
It's alive.
Yes, it is live. There hasn't been a model. There hasn't been a model created yet. And I think it's... I can't see a perfectly working model for this kind of infrastructure stuff to be created. So what we can do instead is baby steps. Okay, what were some things we learned right? What were some things we learned wrong? Where was infrastructure development that was successful? Where was it not successful? What role did the government play in it? what limited role it did play. What role did particular businesses play? Did civil society play? Did customers play? And I think your best bet is to analyze as much information as you can and say, okay, now we're going to do this in pieces. Yeah. Start rolling out in cities first. Heck, Google Fiber.
Yeah.
The fastest internet in the world. Right now it's only available in one city in the U.S., although they're trying to expand it to more. That's probably how you want to do it. You're probably end up starting in the capital and say, okay, we're going to roll this out. We're going to see how this works. If it works, we're going to expand from there. That's probably your best bet. And for when you talk about momentum, you're going to have shifts in momentum. There's no way you're going to perfectly design a model that's going to have perfect momentum at all times.
True.
Yes. Any economist will tell you. And we're not economists, huh? How to ensure the full participation of the actors engaged in capacity building processes. Like I said...
Well, it's easy. You just pay the actors the money they want.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, business needs to be taking a big role in this, and I think a big problem with the current way that's working out now is businesses have a lot to be wary of. There's a lot of history of, okay, we're going to invest in this place, we're going to build a factory in this place or whatever, and then that factory being taken over by the state being like, okay, we own this now, everyone just leave. That happened a lot in South America back in the 70s. Yeah. That's exactly what they did.
I'm bigger than you, so I'm taking over the sandbox. But nope, my sandbox down, and I'm gonna pee in it.
Something like that.
Well, usually, sometimes when they take it over like that, they do ruin it.
Yeah.
So that was my.
Oh yeah, exactly the same.
Peeing in the sandbox.
Businesses don't want to make bets that are stacked against themselves. They don't want to go into a country that has a history of screwing over businesses like that. This is where the government can find a role for itself. A lot of these countries are going to want something from these developed countries, whether it be money, whether it be aid, whether it be knowledge, whether it be access to certain resources or avenues of trade. They're going to want something. Start tying some of this, okay, you want access to product X. We want access to you as a market. But in order to do that, we have to build up infrastructure there. This business is willing to do it, but we need some guarantees that you're not going to do any funny business. Now, never would I advocate guaranteeing success for businesses. Businesses are a risk. They always have been. They always will be. When you take away risk from business, you get lazy businesses that produce very bad products and are just sucking away people's money. There always is going to be some element of risk, but what you can do is alleviate the shady business, the shady political side of the business there. And governments should be trying to do that to encourage private enterprises to want to be in that country and to want to try to build these infrastructures and try to build these facilities. A great example, a lot of cell phones rely on what they call rare earth, particular minerals that are needed to make these things.
Oh, is it rare earth?
Rare earth.
Oh, this is where. I'm sorry.
And a lot of them are found in poor countries. A lot of them found in Africa. That the government was smart. They'd be like, okay, you want access to this, fine, but in exchange, you're going to make one of your factories here. You're going to train our people how to build these things. I mean, obviously, I'd never advocate making businesses give over all their secrets or something stupid like that. Never. But just train them. Okay, use the locals. Give the locals employment. Give them and keep them productive. And of course, by doing that, you're building smartphones there, and you have no customers there yet. You'd just be able to use them for export. So of course, the encouragement would be start building some towers around here. Start building some infrastructure. Even if it can't keep quite as up to date as the other countries, you're never going to be able to say, okay, now make, all of Madagascar have the exact same coverage as South Korea. It's not going to happen. But you can do piecemeal. You can do bit by bit. You can do city by city. And I think that is an excellent place to start. Again, I'm not a development guy. Hopefully I'll get someone in here who can talk more about development and cooperation. I am, of course, on the peace and security side. So at the tail end of all this, I would say education, education, education. Teach people.
Don't be like me who sits there and just nods to the entire thing. This is a business.
Yes. teaching the recipients of this technology its proper use, the pitfalls to the security exploits, teaching them to use the internet properly, to be safe, and some of the downsides that can come from relying too much on cyberspace and technology, and to prepare themselves. Because again, the first people that are going to be able to hook up to the internet in these third countries, of course, going to be government and banks and major businesses like that, and those are the biggest targets for people in cyberspace wanting to be a-holes. So, obviously, education is at the foremost importance on this situation.
Foremost important.
So this is it, James. This is our last one. Mm-hmm. So how'd you feel about our little discussions?
I felt bored. No, I'm just kidding. It was very educational, like our PlayStation education.
There you go. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. No, it was definitely informational and it was fun. So.
Of course, you're a business major, so hopefully you can take some of this stuff back with you when we start talking about entrepreneurship and the role of the private sector with the public sector.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yes. There you go. Now, of course, there's plenty more resources available out there on the interwebs. Of course, I'll make sure to put some links down there below of some great places where you can find more information on these particular topics. And as always, stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you at the conference next week. All right, bye.
Smile and nod. Smile and nod.